The media narrative is that the Thunderbolts is a huge success. It made 100 and something million worldwide. Wow. In reality, it's one of the lowest grossing Marvel films ever. Nobody cared about this. They even tried a publicity stunt this week, which is a big, shameless one, to try to tie it into their mega popular Avengers franchises by retitling it New Avengers, which was a plot point of the film. By the way, I talked about that, and I was right on my plot points the entire time, a week before it even came out. And so I was able to get information on this film before anybody else was. And the plot line was just really stupid. But on this other front, there's a narrative going around saying this is huge success. And let's get into this and drill into this, and I'll show you exactly why it's not in just a moment. So please hit the like and subscribe button. We talk about all things Marvel and Disney here, my friends. Really appreciate you. I'm a comic book writer myself, and I would love for you to get on my newsletter. It's in the description below. You get a free comic book from me for doing so, Flying Sparks. This is a real story about real heroism. And with this, I start a universe where I've got a ton of stuff going on. I've actually got a team book in development right now, which is going to be called Strike Team Ultima, and it is way better than anything Disney Marvel's come out with in years. So please check this out, guys. Like I said, the free book starts here, and then you can read the rest of the series if you'd like to. Really appreciate you guys. And, of course, I just want you guys to be a part of what we got going and building right here, because we're building something bigger and better than anybody else as a competitor to the mainstream entertainment out there. So thank you for being here, and go check that out in the description below. It's free. Why wouldn't you? All right. The box office projections for the Thunderbolts' second week predict the film have a solid hold, with grosses only declining around 50%. Now, recent Disney movies have died in their second week. Captain America, just absolute train wreck. And, of course, Snow White was even worse. And so they have gotten that initial little whatever, and then people said nope as they came out of it. Now, some people are liking this film. The Rotten Tomatoes overall has been mostly positive for it. And it's because they're just, I think they were at a point in the culture where people have seen so much bad content out of Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars and the like, that they're like, something's okay. I actually kind of like it. And they just don't want to fight anymore because they just want to enjoy a movie. And that's, the bar's been lowered so much because of that alone. It's been absolutely crazy. And we're seeing this where I'm seeing a lot of people just tout this as a complete success because of that. So box office analyst Sean Robbins reports at Box Office Theory that the film is expected to have a gross domestic between 30 and 40 million. On the low end, that's nearly a 53% decline, and on the high end, that's only a 46% decline. And it might actually end up with that just because the new Avengers change did generate media hype over the course of the week, and that might get some people back into the theaters because of that. It is a big attempt at their level to do this and to try to actually push this out there. That's a huge marketing stunt. They really put their all into it, and of course, the media is going along with it pretty well. Box office report predicts it will have a 36.5 million, which is only 51% decline. Box Office Pro says anything between 34 and 40 million, low end decline of 54%. For Infinity War, it had a 55%, and of course, Guardians of the Galaxy did pretty well at 48% as its decline. So these holds might be similar to this because, of course, like I said, the general public reviews have been, okay, it's pretty decent, and there hasn't been a lot of content out there where people have said, hey, this is really a woke thing, even though it is kind of like a weird thing. If you look at the comics, Baron Zemo was the guy who was in charge of this whole thing, and it was a big thing at that. In this one, it is the replacement Black Widow from the film that bombed a few years back as well. So it's kind of an odd thing. So the film does not, if the film does meet projections, 500 million for it is on the table, and about 540 million is the break-even point. So if it continues to perform well, Disney might have a break-even-ish movie on their hands for the first time in a while with the MCU. They've been losing, and of course, they had Deadpool and Wolverine, which did really well, but that was an outlier. And it's really interesting because after Deadpool and Wolverine came out, people expected that there would be a revitalized interest in the MCU, and we've not been seeing that whatsoever. It is not carried on to other projects. Everybody was like, okay, the nostalgia worked. Daredevil Born Again, that's going to go really well. What turned out, most reviewers said that was a pale imitation of Disney, the Netflix show that came up before, and it was not very exciting. and it failed to chart on the Nielsen ratings. All 8 episodes have 100% failed to chart on it. So they didn't come back for that. And I think that's also because the TV shows on Disney Plus just have been so bad that people have just absolutely given up on all the TV shows sort of stuff. We also had, of course, Captain America Brave New World, which bombed spectacularly because, of course, nobody wanted a black replacement Captain America. Very obvious stuff right there. But I don't think that the MCU's recovered. I don't think that's coming back. They've done a ton of hype for Avengers Doomsday. Robert Downey Jr. is coming back. Yay! And that doesn't seem to actually be moving the needle that much. As much as like this might break even and be okay for Disney and not be a total loss for them, that does not actually mean that they're doing well. And that doesn't mean that people are coming back and starting to just trickle back into the MCU. I don't think it's going to happen. Their next project, of course, is Ironheart, which is, again, a black female replacement Iron Man. And they're trotting out Robert Downey Jr. to try to get excitement for this going. I don't think that's going to work, because people just don't want that. But this is where we're at these days. So looking at the other numbers, the Thunderbolts did $4.3 million on its first Wednesday, where Eternals did $4.6 million. So we are now actually at a spot where Thunderbolts is underperforming Eternals at this point, adjusted for inflation. It grossed $446 million. So it is something that would be a big, huge loss for Disney if it ends up at that level and does not have a big second weekend right now. So we'll cover this. We'll see exactly what's going on with this. The media, meanwhile, is doing just their full shill. Screen Rant, look at these. Thunderbolts has finally brought the villain redemption story I've been hoping for, but convinced was unlikely for almost a decade. And of course, they're using the asterisks now. These are AI written things, by the way, on stuff like Screen Rant. It's ridiculous. Walmart reveals the real meaning of the Thunderbolts asterisk. Okay, it's called New Avengers. That's what it was. Marvel film Thunderbolts changes title 1 week after release 3 days ago. Now aiming for $73 million. This is from 6 days ago. So as you see, the media started to calm down on things a little bit. They had that big boost for a couple of days where it was all about changing the title as if that was going to do anything right there. But I think the hype's pretty much worn out of the MCU in general. I don't see much coming right out of this that's going to be a big thing. I really think this Robert Downey Jr. thing might be the most ridiculous part out of all of it. I mean, gosh, this is desperation right here. In an interview with Empire, the actress who's in charge of the Riri Williams deal says she talked with Robert Downey Jr. Says, we spoke after we wrapped. He shared some very lovely words about my journey. He told me how excited he was and how he's rooting for it too. I literally got 2 thumbs up. That's reassuring to know you're not embarrassing Iron Man. So, yes, Robert Downey Jr. is like the only thing that the MCU has at this juncture. They really are relying on these old actors to sell things. That's exactly what the Avengers Doomsday sort of situation is, where they're just like, oh, this is going to be a big bring back everybody so that we know who everybody is. You'll have your member berries. Please come back to the movies, everybody. They're pretty desperate. And you know how much the outlay cost of that had to be? Because you know these people don't want to make these movies anymore. They're done with it. The storylines are done. The interest in it's waned. It's not as exciting for them as actors anymore. It's not prestigious for them anymore. And so they're having to pay these people a buttload to get them back into these movies. And that's going to cost a ton. Will it pay off? Well, at these numbers, I don't think so. Even if Avengers Doomsday does very, very well and brings it back to $1 billion, they're probably going to be outlaying that just for the actors' costs at this point. And that's something that is very, very scary for Disney at this juncture. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Really appreciate you guys being here. And please sign up for my newsletter in the description below. Get a free comic from me, guys. Honestly, this is where the spot is to be to get an alternative from mainstream Marvel and DC. We're building characters that matter, that actually change, that progress, and making some good stuff right here. Get on the newsletter in the description below. We appreciate you being here. We'll be back soon.